Welcome to the Pre-Pregame Live. Haven't done one of these in a while, but some of you said maybe give it a try on some weekend games. Here we are, a big Saturday night tilt. Your New Jersey Devils taking the bus in a lot of congestion and a lot of terrible traffic, headed out on Long Island to take on the New York Islanders tonight from UBS Arena, looking for their oh-so-elusive third consecutive victory. We haven't seen it since, I believe, almost a calendar year ago, December of last year. And this is a big one, folks. This is a big one. I am wearing my heavier, edgier, more violent hoodie to celebrate the occasion. Yes, my friends, this team is, in fact, heavier, edgier, more violent. And I am hoping to see the New Jersey Devils come out of the gates immediately from first puck drop. I don't want to see any, let's, feel the game out. No. When that puck drops, I want bodies getting smashed, people getting leveled, because there's no need to wait, guys. There's no need to wait. They need to embrace the heavier, edgier, more violent right away and just start taking it to these teams. There's no excuse. In some other games this year, we've seen, the Devils kind of raise their intensity as the game goes on when the other team does it. No, I want to see it right out of the gate. I want to see people getting smashed. Some notes, a little business to take care of before talking about the game. We all know Shimo Nemec sent to Utica, and Nick DeSimone has been called up from the Utica Comets. So he will be the extra defenseman on the roster as it stands now. It seems like Nemec will probably be in Utica for quite some time, and hopefully that really helps his development. And when he eventually returns to this New Jersey Devils club, he is ready to contribute. But as it stands, Sheldon Keefe has mentioned that with the defense playing the way it was, there's no one you could take out at this juncture. The defense is looking solid. No need to force Nemec. And then another unfortunate note heading into this game is that the Islanders, Romanov, is not in the game. He's injured. He won't be playing tonight. The integral kind of villain from the last Devils-Islanders matchup. We all know that Curtis McDermott hit him with that beautiful hit that kind of sparked the whole thing. McDermott hits him. His helmet flies off. He's bleeding from the mouth. Mayfield comes over and fights. Mayfield comes over and challenges McDermott. McDermott fights him. Then later in the game, Romanov targets Jack, lays a big hit on him, and then talked about it after the game, like, oh, they want to hit me. I'm going to target their best players. And so tonight, someone must pay. I believe Curtis McDermott will be playing. Let me just check something here real quick. I don't think there's any changes. And so while Romanov is not in the lineup, and it is unfortunate that Curtis McDermott will not be able to lay the smackdown on him, it's okay. Someone else will do. So Curtis McDermott better get out there and get after it. It's payback time. Heavier, edgier, more violent. Let's not wait. Let's start immediately abusing these guys from puck drop. Just want to see here. Yep. No changes to the lineup, so McDermott will be in there. Jacob Markstrom will be back in net, coming off not a great performance. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't great. And you guys know how I feel about starters in the league. I would not personally, if I'm in charge of this whole situation, I'm never letting Markstrom sit 5 full days between starts. Obviously, extenuating circumstances taken into consideration, like, the Four Nations face-off and stuff like that, you can't control. But in your regular schedule, to have your number one guy, who Markstrom is, to sit 5 full days in between starts, I'm not a fan of it whatsoever. And I have to believe that probably affected him negatively a little bit. To sit out 5 days to not play, play an NHL game, don't love it. And hopefully they kind of start riding him a little bit more. But we're going to see him tonight, so which means we will see Jake Allen in net tomorrow against the Sharks back at the Rock. Allen, obviously, great game in Edmonton. Last outing, 3-0 shutout for him. He played out of his mind. So we'll see how that all goes. But I'm expecting a feisty Islanders group tonight. No easy wins in this league. I have a buddy who's an Islanders fan, longtime friend from elementary school. Shout out to my man, Pat. I texted him earlier, and I was like, oh, it's a shame there's no Romanov. And what else? Let me just see what else he said. He said, no Riley Smith, Romanov, Pelech, playing 3 rookie D. So, a decimated Islanders team somewhat by injury. They're not off to the best start. Again, this is a division rivalry-ish kind of game. It's not going to be an easy one, but hopefully the Devils could come out here and make a statement. Again, looking for the 3rd win in a row. Please, can we see it? I hope the pump-up speech from whoever gives it, or if there is one, prior to hitting the ice is like, yo, we haven't won 3 in a row in almost a calendar year. Like, that is insanity. With the guys on our roster, that should never happen. Should never, ever happen. Completely unacceptable, and hopefully tonight's the start of I officially called a winning streak after 3. So once there's 3 wins, I'm calling that a streak. And it would be great to see it happen tonight. It's been way too long, and that would now give us 3 in a row, obviously, with the chance for 4 in a row against the Sharks tomorrow. I'm just trying to look at something else here real quick. Yeah, all right, guys, just to put it into perspective and not to knock on the Sharks, but the Sharks won 3 in a row. Let me just double check that it wasn't 4. Yeah. The Sharks won 3 in a row at the end of October. I mean, that's, even bad teams are capable of putting together 3-game winning streaks. And so for the Devils to not have had one in almost a full year is psychotic. But yeah, the Sharks beat Utah 5-4 in overtime on October 28th. Next night, beat the Kings 4-2. And then on Halloween the 31st, they beat the Blackhawks 3-2. So, the winning streak being so elusive is painful, and it's honestly grotesque. It's a little disgusting, and it's time to right that wrong tonight, get this 3rd win, and see if we could make it 4 tomorrow against the Sharks at home. But we will see. I'm expecting an intense game. Again, no one's rolling over and giving you easy victories. Sorokin is obviously an absolute animal in the net, so it's not going to be easy. Hopefully they bring their A game. Hopefully we can continue to see Jack Hughes and Jesper Bratt flying. Absolutely dominant last game. Palat starting to look like, he's worthy of playing with those guys. Obviously, none of us would want him on the top line in an ideal world, but he contributed, was winning some puck battles. He got that beautiful goal that he created essentially from the hustle play on the boards. Gets the puck to Jack, slides in front of the net into a nice little shooting spot and rips one. And we'll see. Hopefully Palat continues to contribute and this team just continues humming along. Let's see what we got in the chat. Yeah, 4-Devil, heavier, edgier, more violent. Let's get a reminder on what that should look like. Initiate the physicality, not react to it. 2 points on the line. Who wants them more? Couldn't agree more. I want to see the intensity immediately. There's no need to wait. And I think that's kind of what separates championship caliber teams from kind of pretenders. I mean, the Panthers are playing playoff hockey almost every game the way they approach it is a playoff game with the intensity and the physicality. Matthew Tkachuk has talked about this on multiple occasions since the Panthers won the cup last year. And, that is the championship mindset. Come out and take care of business and play every game like it's a playoff game with that urgency. There is absolutely no need to wait. We don't need an invitation. Come out there and start trucking people immediately. Immediately. Death to Kong. Let's go Devils. What's up, Death to Kong? Rickstar, whoop. My first live stream nice and early for UK. Well, greetings from New Jersey. Glad you could join us, Rickstar. What time? How many hours ahead is the UK? I'm not great with the world clock. John, McDermott needs to dummy Romanov if he takes a run at Jack. I would want McDermott to dummy Romanov regardless because of last game, but he is not playing tonight, and so McDermott's going to have to find someone else to smack around. I'm not picky. Anyone you want to find, Big Mac, get it done, and maybe we'll get a proper bout with Mayfield because that was, McDermott's one of those guys that likes the theatrical bouts where, they square up, the gloves are dropped, he gets his footing. Mayfield kind of rushed him. He was kind of skating, and for it to all happen the way it did, doesn't play into McDermott's hands the way he likes to scrap. So, gem card collecting. Let's go Devils. 3-0 win today. I'm calling it. I would love to see any type of win. I would love to see, but a shutout. Love to see the shutout. Hopefully Markey gets another one tonight. Alex, Ace, got to smack the Isles around even before thinking of a W. Totally agree. Totally agree here. Heavier, edgier, more violent. The tone must be set. People must pay for the sins of the last game. The aggression cannot stand, and it's time to make a statement tonight. We need to kick their ass on the ice and on the scoreboard, and I'm hoping they come out flying. MD, the new military jerseys are slick. What are the military jerseys? What are the military jerseys? I'm curious what are the military jerseys? Somebody fill me in on that. Rick Star, will you ship a heavier, edgier hoodie to the UK, please? I could try. I mean, listen, the thing about all of this is everything just takes so much time, and like there's a shipping program that's plugged into the website and it doesn't do overseas, and then there's the customs and there's all the bullshit, and I'm filling out forms, and it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing to ship overseas. I feel bad for people that live overseas. I will try my best. Rick Star, there is only one hoodie though. I actually will drop the link. If you're a double XL, there's one double XL hoodie left. That is it. And then there's not many t-shirts, like a good amount of the t-shirts sold, but I just put the link in the description. One remaining beautiful, heavier, edgier, more violent hoodie. It is a double XL. One left, and then there's some t-shirts left, I think, in most sizes. But again, not many. So this is gonna be a collectible here. This is the official Running with the Devils release. Got the little logo on the sleeve. It could possibly be the last one. Dealing with merch is kind of a nightmare, and but I had to. This one I had to do, but there might not be another one. Who knows? Maybe down the line. Serious question, Nemo. Is he something we packing at the deadline or off season? Obviously, depending how we do for a top 6 guy. It's a good question, Alex. I wouldn't say that's a definite, plan. And I also don't think if that was the plan, sending them to the AHL for an extended period of time, whether it's, a few months, a couple, whatever it ends up being, and I do believe it will be the rest of the season, I do think that is going to diminish his trade value to an extent. I do believe most GMs would value him for the core franchise type long-term defenseman piece that he could be, or I expect him to be and would be for any team. But I do think the Devils would like to keep him in the system. It's just a function of, right now with the more veteran guys we have for the most part, it is hard to put him in the lineup. And I don't know that, there's the defense is kind of packed up, right? I mean, we just got Pesce and Dillon. Luke Hughes is going to most likely re-sign I'll be interested to see actually as a restricted free agent, what kind of deal he signs this offseason, but there's really not any room. And then you have Siegenthaler. It's tough. It's tough. I do believe if it came down to it at this juncture, and again, this is just pure speculation on my part, I think the Devils would probably rather move on from Dougie Hamilton. I mean, it's just more logical in the fact of, how much he makes, and I don't know what it would take with his. I mean, he's still putting up some decent points. He's not putting up the goals we saw from a couple seasons ago, and he's not even ripping that slapper as often as we saw it a couple years ago. I hope to start seeing that kind of return soon. But coming off that injury that he had with the pec, it's a big question mark. And so long-winded answer here, just kind of rambling on about Nemec and the defense. I would not be opposed to trading Nemec, but I do think he is going to be a very good defenseman where you look down the line and you say, damn, like we should have kept him. With all that being said, we also have Seamus Casey in the wings, who I believe is, maybe not NHL optimized at the moment, but he's certainly NHL capable. I mean, if nothing else, Seamus Casey has shown in the small sample size we saw from him earlier in the season that he is capable of playing in the league today. Now, it might not be your most ideal, option, especially against some of the bigger, heavier forechecking teams that are going to kind of target him and try to get him pinned deep and make him a little bit nervous. But I do believe as, he progresses in his NHL career, he's going to be an absolute stud. And that's something in the minds, I'm sure, of Fitz and everyone else as well. So to answer the question, I don't know that we look to do that. But if the right deal presents itself, I do think Shimo Nemec could potentially be traded just because of the potential value we could get from another team, in conjunction with the fact that we do have some other young defensemen. Obviously, Salayev, the kid we just drafted with the number 10 pick this past summer. So, and Casey. So there's guys in the wings. I would like to see Nemec be here long-term. But like I said, if the right deal presents itself, I'm not just trading him, though, for some bullshit kind of top 6 guy. Like, it would have to be something, in my opinion, truly dynamic. I don't want to trade. It's not like you're just trading a good defenseman away in this scenario. You're trading away a bona fide, potential really, really good for a very long time type of defenseman, like a franchise defenseman. So and it would have to be a marquee guy. If it was a huge dynamic playmaker, I would be for it. And then depending on the other pieces, I'm totally not against it. I would ideally like to see the Devils, bring in that top 6 guy some other way. But if Nemec is a sticking point for a trade that's going to bring in something substantial, I'm not against it. It's very curious. I'm very curious, rather, to see how that plays out. I do believe this team is going to be very good this year, and I do believe we will be buyers at the deadline. And obviously, aside from that top 6 winger, preferably for Jack, the other piece I think that could be very interesting and kind of a game changer and might not cost a lot in trade is that, that fourth line center or even another fourth line winger. I love Curtis McDermott. I don't know, if he could be an every game player in the playoffs. With the limited ice they give him, I don't know that the team, Keefe and Fitz would want to go into the playoffs with McDermott as an every game player on the fourth line. And so that would put you, assuming Lazar is still out, which I guess, we're hoping he comes back, right? But if he comes back, it's all very interesting. But I think a fourth line center, if Lazar is out, is probably a must for the playoffs. And then I'm curious to see what happens with Bastian. But if I'm being honest, I'm happy with kind of moving on from him as well, just because, I want my fourth line to have legitimate toughness. And unfortunately, I just don't think he's bringing that. Resting Guitar Face. I was raised on Long Island, now live in Connecticut. I've always been a solo Devils fan out there in the wild. Dude, thank you for starting this community. Let's go Devils. Let's go Devils, Resting Guitar Face. Thank you for watching, sir. You were raised on the island, and so you must have really been the, you stuck out like the sore thumb there on the island. But how did you become a Devils fan? I'm curious. I have a buddy that I grew up with who was an Islanders fan in northern New Jersey, and there was only like 5 or 6 hockey fans total in our school. So we were like the weird hockey kids. He became an Islanders fan, I believe, because he had an uncle or somebody from Long Island that kind of introduced him to hockey. He had 2 brothers that were older, and I believe they were both Devils fans. Somehow he clutched on to the Islanders. And my buddy Pat, massive Islanders fan, and he has like a pretty substantial team ticket plan that he drives to UBS from where he lives in South Jersey, which is kind of crazy. Amagi, can't find a pic of the Seton Hall coach with the Violent Gentleman hoodie, but I'll send a pic your way of the hoodie tomorrow at the game. I think I might have the picture. I think it's just very basic, right? It's just a Devils logo and says VGHC on the front, I think. Gem card collecting. If DeSimone ends up playing a game for us, you almost want him to suck. Imagine we throw another good defenseman into the mix. Keefe would be way too stressed out. Well, listen, again, defense, especially depth of any kind, is a beautiful thing to have. Defensive depth is even better to have. And this defense is an absolute unit right now. I mean, you can't want any more than what we have. I mean, if you're counting now, we've talked about this all season long, and it's just been such a treat as opposed to what we were dealing with last year, where we had to rush Nemec into the league and he didn't get properly developed. But you're talking about in every game, aside from the 6 defensemen that will play, you have DeSimone capable of playing NHL minutes. You have Nemec, who played NHL minutes for a long time, obviously capable as well, and Seamus Casey. You have 3 guys right there, and there's probably 1 or 2 more that are not too far off. Yes, you're talking about DeSimone, Nemec, Casey, Missoul, and Villain is probably capable of stepping in and not being a, sticking out in a negative way kind of guy. So we probably have 5 guys. We could almost have, forget 6 defensemen. The Devils could almost assemble 6 decent pairings. I mean, the riches on defense are just, what a beautiful position to be in. And we're going to see how it plays out. Hopefully there is no injuries and we don't have to actually deploy some of these depth guys, but it's a great problem to have. And maybe one of these guys is included in a trade to get some help up front. You never know. But again, depth for a variety of reasons, great reason to have. What do you think of bringing up DeSimone? Yeah. He's going to be the extra guy. So I think they rather him in the press box at this juncture of his career than Nemec, and they want Nemec to get the time in Utica. And so here we are. He is the extra defenseman. I don't know that they're going to throw him in a outside of someone, obviously, again, the injury. If no one gets injured, I think someone would have to play pretty poorly for them to get yanked out of the lineup and scratched for DeSimone. But who knows? I don't expect to see him, honestly. What's going on, Adam? Let's go. Ryan, let's go, Devils. Select the boy. What's up, Devils, folks? Dubs is like, got to take these next two games heading into that Florida trip. Back-to-back games against the champs and one versus Tampa and then one against Carolina at home. That's a tough 4-game stretch. Let's go. That is an understatement. Obviously, I've been talking about for the past few days. This is an opportunity to get hot going into that stretch of games because that is a very, very unforgiving slate of games. 2 games against the Panthers. I don't even know how that happens. I mean, I understand the scheduling is not easy to do for the league, but, playing a team like that on the road 2 games in a row kind of sucks. That's what that's literally the playoffs. 2 home, 2 away. But yeah, we have the road portion of a playoff series against the Panthers, then the Bolts, and then Carolina. And man, I hope we have an answer for Carolina. But that is obviously a very rough 4-game stretch. And it doesn't really ease up too much after that. Heading into Thanksgiving, it's kind of it's a rough situation. Let me just pull this up because I can't memorize everything. Yeah. Then after the Canes at home, we go on the road to play the Caps. And then Monday, Thanksgiving week, leading up to Thanksgiving, hosting the Predators. Oh, God, it is interesting to see them suck with all those – with Markstrom and Stamkos signing there in the summer for them to blow is pretty funny. But Monday the 25th, we have the Preds at home. Then Wednesday the 27th, we host the Blues. And that brings us to Thanksgiving. So this is a big opportunity. Again, I've said Thanksgiving was kind of my first check-in point to really see where this team is when all the doomsdayers are like, oh, my God, this team sucks. And this is the same team from last year and blah, blah, blah. And I thought you said they were heavier, edgier, more violent. And I thought Keith was a good coach. And you said Jack Hughes was a superstar. And all the detractors just beep, 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 chirping, making background noise. All the while, this team's just trying to get their shit together. Take some time, a little cohesion, a little Western Canada road trip, I think, was just what the doctor ordered. It really sucks that we couldn't win that Calgary game for Markstrom, obviously, in his return, because to sweep the road trip would have been insane. And to think we were five and a half minutes, guys, 5.5 minutes away from shutting out all of Western Canada. What a fucking headline that would have been to win 3 games in a row via shutout. But these boys need to get ready because Thanksgiving is really that first kind of check-in point, in my opinion. And they got some big ones ahead. Looking for 4 points this weekend. Let's go Devils. Joseph Renzi. Couldn't agree with you more. It would be great to go into Florida on a 4-game winning streak. And let's just take one step at a time. Let's take care of business tonight and get our first 3-game winning streak in forever. Jets, mess. Let's go Devs. Select, let's hope they beat the Islanders tonight and for the team not to prolapse on both sides of the puck. I hope they just come out and dominate these guys. I just would love to see the domination. Zach, let's go Devils. M. Ace, do you think the Devils should bring in Gritsuk or Hamanaho in March when they become available? So I'm still not sure. What the KHL guys are a very interesting kind of situation to me. A lot of people, I have to look into it more. Is it definite that he could, these contracts are super weird. Russia's the government's involved. It's a whole oil money. It's a whole different thing. If he's truly allowed to come here and that all plays out that way, then I would love to see either one of them at least get a sniff. I saw Hamanaho in the rookie camp. I think it wasn't even this summer. I think 2 years ago, he looked really good to me in the summer. I guess so. That was when they do that in July. So I guess that was July of 23. I thought Hamanaho looked great in camp. And I remember, texting one of my buddies when I left there and I was like, that kid Hamanaho looks pretty damn good. But I do think we could use some more firepower, either potentially for the top 6 or the bottom 6. There's definitely places I think that we could upgrade, and one or both of those guys I think could fit the bill. Now, it will be interesting to see how all that plays out, and could Gritsuk be a lot of people think he's a top 6 winger, and I would love to see it. I always want to see these guys come from the KHL and see if it's going to translate in the big boy league. But I'm all for bringing in these guys for a look to see where they're at, because there is definite spots that upgrades are available. And so if they truly are available, I would not be opposed to it because I think there's, roster spots that could be an upgrade. The military are the black gold ones. What am I am I missing something? The black gold ones. There's black gold Devils jerseys. I'm so lost, Amagi. Let me know. In my old age, I'm slipping. Works perfectly for the VGK. Saw it the other day. Rick Star, does a double X work for you? It'll be the last hoodie. If you're claiming it, I will make it happen somehow. Shoot me an email, Rick Star. But let me know if you're claiming it right now. I'm gonna have to take it offline so that you get that last one. We need Markey to be good. Yeah, we need Markey to be good. Again, a few weeks ago, I said I do believe on some nights Markstrom is gonna have to bail out the team, so the team might not play well or great. Let's just say the team wouldn't play great, but Markstrom did, and it was the difference in a win. The game that comes to mind for me immediately where I would say Markstrom bailed out the team was maybe that game in Ottawa. I mean, the Devils played okay. They didn't play great, but they played a game where they easily could have lost, in my opinion, if Markstrom wasn't really good. So I would say in a game like that, Markstrom kind of bailed out the team on that night. And then on the flip side, I think there's going to be some nights where Markstrom doesn't have the best game, but the team bails him out. And I think that Montreal game the other night was one of those games where Markstrom didn't play great. With that kind of play, you could easily lose that kind of game, right? I mean, and I'm going to say the team bailed him out on that night. So on nights where they're both performing where we want to see, those are the 6-0 wins in Vancouver. That you're the 3-0 wins with Jake Allen and Net in Edmonton. And so when they're both on their A game, both the team at large and the goaltending, it's going to be special. But as long as both of them don't suck on the same night, we are going to be in every game, whether that's because we're burying a ton of goals, the defense is playing good, or it's the goalie on fire. As long as one of those two are at their A game or somewhere close to it, the Devils should be in these games. And like I said, when the goaltending and the team at large is on their A game, that is when the team is going to be very, very dangerous. And hopefully we see it just coasting into the playoffs when the time comes. Zach, bring the Dougie bombs back. Hope to see some tonight. I think we all do. I have to believe it has something to do with the torn pec injury. A lot of people have said that's a very hard injury to come back from, and some guys never fully recover, and that, it's one of those kind of lingering things. Now, I don't know if maybe it is something that can improve or if this is just kind of what you see is what you get, but he just seems very hesitant to rip it from the point. He seems like he's trying to sneak in a little more and get like slot shots, but even before he got hurt last year, but really 2 years ago is the, vintage Devils Dougie Hamilton we're all thinking of in 22-23. He was just hammering shots from the point regularly, and we don't even see him attempting the shots anymore. So I have to believe it has something to do with the injury. Hopefully it is something that gets better in time, but it's like this injury happened forever ago, and I'd have to believe common sense would say, he's fully healed, so what you see is what you get, but I don't know. 2 of those goals by the Habs are soft. Mark, you got to find his consistency. The first one was definitely soft. The blast that went through him. The other 2, I mean, the coast to coast and then Dougie popping it up. I'm not going to say the other ones were soft, but the first one was definitely soft. Like, you got to have that. Make Dougie bombs great again. Joseph, what's going on? Joseph, Jay Snow, the reason I wouldn't want to get rid of Case. You talking about Casey? The reason I wouldn't want to get rid of Case, he's our best offensive D-man. If you trade Nemec, it has to be for the right package. You're talking about the number 2 pick. Yeah, I'm not, I hate to keep bringing this guy up, but if you're bringing in a guy like Brady Tkachuk, then I drive Nemec to the airport. I drive him to the airport. But outside of that, if it's just kind of like a mediocre middle of the road top 6 guy, I'm not giving up Nemec for it. But if like something like a Brady Tkachuk deal presents itself, I'm doing that every day without thinking about it. Alex, would have loved to see Natchez on the Devils before he signed. Yeah, a lot of I think SST wanted him. One of our resident doomsdayers that hasn't been around in a minute. Yo Holmes, what up, Yo Holmes? You don't trade Nemec, bros. Relax, let the kid marinate. He is 20. I agree, but with that being said, Yo Holmes, because of the pipeline with all these other guys, I would trade him, but it would have to be, like I said, for like a Brady Tkachuk level type thing. I'm not just trading him for the sake of trading him, but I certainly would not be eager about trading him in any deal. I would try to put other pieces in the deal to keep him at all costs if it's me. Tim Frith. Oh, here we go. Should the Devils trade Mercer, Nemec, Casey, Filman, and a 26th first rounder for the Blue Jackets for Provorov? No. No. Win now mode at Yo Holmes. I'm always in win now mode, Amagi, but to his point, Nemec is going to be a beast, and I think a lot of people don't realize the type of player. I don't think they see the ceiling of what Nemec could really be. So it's a tough one, but like I said, marquee player, big-time trade, I do it, but I'm trying everything in my power to not include Nemec in any potential trades. Laying hits, dropping mitts. Great name. What's up, Ace? I'm ready for Big Mac to beat the doors off Romanov tonight. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Romanov is not playing. He's injured, but hopefully we see Big Mac beat the doors off of anyone else. I don't discriminate. Romanov's out of the lineup. No Romanov, no problem. Someone else, come on down. You are the next contestant on Catch a Big Mac Beatdown. I'm not worried about who it is. I'm not worried at all. Let's let Curtis just pick his target. Maybe Mayfield again. Amagi, it's not unreasonable. I'd get a trade Nemec, especially given Kovacevic is a main roster now. No, it's not. It's not unreasonable, but he is a franchise level defenseman. Again, I think a lot of people are selling him kind of short. He is a kid. Is he 19 or 20? And I do think he's going to be dynamic. He was rushed into the league. The Devils thrust him into the lineup because of the injuries last year. Let me see something. He's 20. Okay, yeah, so he's 20. So he's actually going to be 21 in a few months. We'll be able to buy him a shot at the bar. He'll be shot eligible in a few months. But, we have some guys that are older. Other injuries could happen. You never know. And he is, in my opinion, one of the next guys on deck. But it seems like now he's not even really the next guy on deck, actually, because, D. Simone is up. So, yeah, it's a tough situation. I think he's going to play. They want him to just play in the AHL for the rest of the year and really get his stuff together and hope for him to be a mainstay next year. I mean, just going into next year is going to be interesting. Like, can you really keep Nemec in the minors again next year? I don't see how you do that. And I also don't see how you would leave Casey there. So you're talking about, I do expect something to get shaken up on the defense at some point, whether it's the trade deadline or in the offseason. But again, the riches on defense is beautiful. But in that, I'm just thinking, like, how do you, I guess, maybe we could cash out on Siegenthaler or High. I mean, he's having a career year. He makes a decent amount of money. That would free up cap space. I don't know. I don't think Siegenthaler will get traded anytime this year, but maybe given how good him and Kovacevic have been this year, we potentially move on from him in the offseason to free up money and make space for someone else. I mean, it's a great problem to have. The riches on defense are crazy. Yo, Holmes, you expect no more injuries on D? No, I do. Maybe that's, that was probably in reference to talking about Nemec. Yeah. Injuries happen. It's part of the game. Casey and Co are on standby for injuries. The Devils, we could talk about this all day and night. The riches on the blue line for this New Jersey Devils club is just something that it's beautiful to see. Rarely do you see, like I said earlier, forget six defensemen. The Devils could ice, or not ice, but you could make the case that the Devils have 6 legitimate NHL pairings, meaning 12 defensemen. It's completely wild. Alex, Jason, no, I knew Natchez was a gem, and we could have stole from the Canes because his stock was lower. Plus, they're having problems signing him. Listen, I'm not going to complain. The way our blue line shaped up, it's phenomenal. A great job by Fitzy, and hopefully they just continue to improve each game. Jason, no, Chase Stillman is a first-round pick, and he looks bad in Utica. You sound like one of my buddies ready to call him a bust. He could be. Listen, it's hard to hit on every pick. It sucks when you whiff on first-rounders. And it's possible that, maybe Chase Stillman just never becomes an NHL player. It is what it is. It's unfortunate. The Devils were linked to Natchez. I thought they were going to trade for him on draft night. I feel like Frank Vetrano could be a possibility to acquire at the deadline. I think there's going to be a lot of guys that, someone mentioned, I don't know if it was a comment. Some of these things, guys, with the lives and the comments on the regular videos that I do, some kind of blend together, and it's hard for me to differentiate. But I don't remember if someone talked about it in the live or a comment on a video. Someone was talking about, and I read this statement from Trotz on the last live, I believe, was talking about if the Preds really start going in rebuild mode, do the Devils try to go after Stamkos or Marchessault? And I would absolutely love to see either one of those guys brought in the right deal for this Devils club. I don't know what the likelihood of that would be, but if they continue to tank, I mean, my God, let me just see how bad are they really right now. I would love either one of those guys for our top 6 would be a dramatic improvement and something that would just be, originally I was, I jokingly said I want to see a Devils Predators Stanley Cup final because that travel to Nashville is very easy. So it would allow me to go to some road games, and have easy travel for travel purposes. I wanted to see Devils Predators, but it seems like that is probably beyond oh God. Yeah. Yeah. The Preds are just sucking, man. Wow. Last in the Central. They're through 14 games. Oof. Count your lucky blessings, guys. This New Jersey Devils club is not this bad. I think the Devils are going to be very good. The Preds are 4-9-1. They have 9 points. Their point percentage is .321, which is, oh my God, dead last in the league. Oh my God. Let the tanking begin in Nashville. And I have to say, I'm not going to shed a tear for them. They went out there. Supposedly the Devils were in on both Stamkos and Marchessault at different points. Trotz lands them both, and they absolutely blow right now. The worst team in the league. And so, that's my number one kind of situation I'm looking at. I think that's probably best case scenario right now is that one of those guys becomes available and they just go into a full rebuild. I wonder how that works, actually. Holy shit, my mind is blown. I just thought of this. If you sign a deal with a team in one of those tax-free states, which was a huge advantage, we've talked about this ad nauseum as well, but if you sign a deal like, say, Stamkos or Marchessault, they signed a deal in Nashville in a state that Tennessee doesn't have state income tax, so that's a big savings to them that stays in their pocketbooks there. When you get traded, do you lose that benefit? Because if you do not, if you still somehow are able to get, I think they would have to pay it. Yeah, because then I have to look into that. But that would be an interesting scenario. But would love either one of those guys. And if I'm being honest, just because nostalgia and veteran leadership, if we were able to land Steven Stamkos at the deadline for a push, and they're going to want future pieces, so it makes sense. Devils are looking for win-now pieces, and they're going to be looking for future pieces. Steven Stamkos, but you're going to have to figure out how to make the money work, and they paid him too much money. Yeah, it's all interesting, but let me fantasize for a minute. If we were able to get Stamkos at the deadline for the playoffs and beyond, oh my God. I wanted him badly in the summer, for those of you that have been with me for that long. I just think Stammer is a great player, and the veteran leadership he would bring on and off the ice would be phenomenal. And so I was really rooting for that possibility for the Devils to sign him. I was shocked to see how much money he got paid. I did expect him to sign a more team-friendly deal and go to a more legitimate contender. But the Preds, it just seems like the wheels have fallen off. In 14 games, Stammer has 4 goals, 3 assists for 7 points, which is well below his career average. He's over a point per game player for his career. And right now he's sitting at exactly 0.5, half a point per game with a disgusting -11, and that's screaming, or maybe Stammer will just be happy not playing in the playoffs. I mean, it's very interesting, but I'm keeping my eye on that. I would love either one of them, especially Stammer, obviously, just for nostalgia purposes and what I think he could bring for a team. The Devils in a playoff run would be phenomenal. I really thought the Devils were going to trade that pick of the draft. I honestly wanted them to draft a forward if they were going to use it. So Jay Snow, I was firmly, and this is documented on the channel in depth, I was in win now mode from 22. Once they made, went on that run in 22, 23, I was like, the time is now. We have all the core guys. We should be in win now mode. I want to see the team make win now moves. And so I personally wanted the team to trade that pick because, you're drafting someone at number 10 is a thing for the future, right? That's a future piece. That's not helping you win now. And I am in win now mode, as all of you know. And so I wanted it to get packaged, and I really thought that was our best chance to land Brady Tkachuk. As most of you know, that's kind of my dream was to land Brady. I thought he would have been perfect for this club for so many reasons. So I really thought we were in the best position to trade for Brady with using that number 10 overall pick as one of the key pieces of the trade. It did not happen. We did draft with the pick, and I am I am very happy with the pick of Salayev. I think he's going to be a beast. He's 6'7", I think. I saw him briefly at rookie camp this year. I think he's going to be a great player for this team. And so I'm happy with the pick, but I would have preferred to get a win now piece and include that in a trade. Rick Starr, what are the chances of getting a Hughes trifecta and getting Quinn at some point? A lot of people have talked about this, and I think this is going to depend on how we're going to see. I think a lot of questions for me will be answered when Luke Hughes is a restricted free agent this summer, and a lot of people are thinking he's going to get paid a lot of money. And now, listen, everyone wants to get paid, right? But we are in a salary cap era of hockey. You can't pay everybody. We're already paying a good amount of guys, between $8 and $9 million. There are comps out there for other defensemen, including Brock Faber of the Wild, a former New Jersey Devil and Cup winner, 1995 Cup legend Billy Guerin, the GM in Minnesota, gave him, I believe, $8.25 million a year, and that's pretty much a direct comp to Luke Hughes. Some people think he's going to want more. I've seen guesstimates all over the board. I think some people are delusional. We're like, Luke should sign for $4 million. Like, I promise you guys on everything, there's 0% chance Luke Hughes is signing for anywhere near $4 million. For anyone who thinks that, I'm so sorry to tell you that you are beyond delusional and optimistic, because that is not happening. I think if the Devils could get him to sign for like $7 million, as crazy as it sounds, I mean, $7 million for Luke Hughes would be considered team friendly. But to tie this all back, the odds of getting Quinn are really going to depend on how much does Luke try to get from the team, because, Jack's making about 8. If Luke is making another 8, you're talking about Quinn Hughes. What's he going to be making when he becomes a free agent? And to pay, especially 2 defensemen, you're talking about, call it $25 million plus between the 3 brothers. You have other pieces that you need to address as well. And so I would love to see Quinn Hughes on the Devils, but it has to make sense. And I think a big step in making that happen for them, if that's in fact something that Quinn Hughes is interested in doing, is having team-friendly deals for some of these other guys, and his brother Luke being one of them. I mean, if he tries to get 9, some people I've seen writing, Luke Hughes is going to be looking for $9.5, $10 million. Like, if that's the case, I would say, listen, bud, your dream of playing with your brothers is done. If that happens, and I hope it doesn't, I would trade his ass. And I don't think it's going to happen. I think he wants to be here. He wants to play with Jack, but he's got to leave some meat on the bone, as Fitzy always says. And that's a huge question mark for me. But if he signs something a little team friendly, like a little $7 million-ish, I would say, okay, maybe they're trying to figure out how to make this happen. But we also don't even know if that's something Quinn Hughes wants. You would imagine that he would, but I know a lot of brothers that, maybe the third brother would say, let the other 2 do their thing. I'm kind of happy with my own thing here. And keep in mind, he's the captain of the Canucks. And so I don't know that that's something he would necessarily just want to throw away to go play with his brothers, and we'll find out eventually. But it would be really cool to see all 3 of them here. Obviously, Quinn is, the best of the brothers at this juncture. Amagi, SST and witness protection right now. Yeah, for sure. I like Vetrano too. I hope they get a bigger size guy. Matt M, love the channel. We got to sweep the weekend. Could you see us making a trade at some point for more forward depth? Let's go Devils. What's up, Matt? Thanks for watching, sir. Would love to sweep the weekend, and I think we will be buyers at the deadline. I firmly believe this team is going to be very good. I've said this despite the naysayers, the doomsdayers, the pitchfork crew. When the Devils had that 4-game slide, I was out here just taking bullets with some of the other optimistic, level-headed Devils fans here on this is actually the pre-pregame live, but in the post-game live, I was just taking bullets to the chest from all these crazy people. But I do think we are going to be a very good team. I do think we will be buyers at the deadline, and I do think part of that buying for Tom Fitzgerald, we'll be looking for forward depth. Now, whether that's, a top 6 winger for Jack is what everyone wants to see. I think that should be kind of priority number 1 on the docket, but there's also potential question marks on the 4th line, and those could be solved in the trade market as well. And with teams tanking like Nashville, you never know. But at the moment, realistically, I don't think there would be someone who would leapfrog my wish list more than Steven Stamkos. Now, again, if we're playing silly nonsense at this point, like pipe dreams, Brady Tkachuk will forever be, Matthew Tkachuk would really be my forever number 1, but that's clearly never happening. And so then when you go down to what is remotely realistic, but a long shot, that could be Brady Tkachuk. He is my number 1 anywhere remotely based in realism want. But assuming that that is not a viable option, I think Steven Stamkos would just be the perfect piece for Fitzy to just drop on the wing with Jack and Bratter. My God, I can't even. Can you guys imagine a line of Jesper Bratt, Jack Hughes, and Steven Stamkos going into the NHL playoff? Oh my God, I just got goosebumps, guys. Holy shit, I got goosebumps. Bratter, Jack, and Stammer. Whoo! Whoo! That could be some magical shit for real. Hey, it's been a hot minute, but old man Rob is back. What up, Rob? The things are looking good. Haters are coming around, and the team is truly looking like we all thought. Enjoy our frosty beverages, and let's go Devils. I'll be enjoying my beverages later. I had a taxing couple days, and I do believe I somehow was dehydrated, guys. Very important to hydrate. Drink your H2O. I feel like I couldn't remember drinking water for a couple days, and I think I may have been a little dehydrated. And it really messed me up for a little bit. But I'm back on my, I'm going to stay hydrated. Hydrate thoroughly during the game so that I could drink these post-game beverages and not pass out on camera. I doubt Gritsik will make it here this year. At best, you're probably looking at next year. That's what I originally thought, but a lot of people have been adamant that he's possible this year. All right, Rick Star, hold on 1 second here. You're absolutely claiming it. All right, email me. Email me and we'll figure this out. I happen to have the tab open. I officially took it down. And thanks to all of you, the exclusive Heavier, Edgier, More Violent hoodies are officially sold out. That is it. The first hoodie launch is sold out. No more hoodies. Heavier, Edgier, More Violent, the official motto of your 24-25 New Jersey Devils. Thank you to all that supported this first merch launch. Hoodies are officially done. However, there are some t-shirts remaining in both sizes. Shameless plug. Bang. The t-shirt link is in the chat. If you want a t-shirt, there's not many of those left. And once those are gone, they are history as well. And you will forever have the first Running with the Devils merch drop ever. I am proud of this. I do think it's super sick. And we got oh man, look at that. It's so beautiful. So yeah, email me, Rick Star. Thank you, man. We'll figure that out. I took it off the website. Ride and respect. Hopefully it's a good one tonight. Hoping to see some sustainable consistency. I think that's what we all are hoping to see. Earlier on in the season, it seemed like the Devils were consistently inconsistent, and I think it's all starting to come together. I really do. I think the goalies are starting to elevate their game. I think the defensive pairs are slowly starting to kind of hone in and become more familiar with each other, tighten up a little bit. And I do think that top line of Bratter, Jack, and Palat is going to be dominant now. Again, not to kick in Palat's back, but, I would like to see a significant upgrade for that line. And if somehow Stammer, it could be a part of that, oh my God, it would be lethal. But hopefully we see a big effort from the Devils tonight and they finally get that very elusive third consecutive win, because as we all know, it has been entirely too long. It's kind of disgusting because tons of bad teams have had at least one 3-game winning streak at some point, way more recently. So it is what it is, but hopefully tonight is the night. It's weird. Marky's been letting those pucks go through his arm, but then he makes those tough saves. Yeah, with goalies, that's, there are a lot of top goalies like that. They make these like 5-alarm. You're like, holy shit, like crazy saves. And then they could let in a softie. I mean, it happens. Nobody stops 100% of the shots they face. But you do hope to see, Markstrom cut down on some of those weaker goals and for him to just play consistent. But I do, again, not to make excuses, but 5 days off in between starts. Like, where is Marty? Marty would have, if back in the day, a coach, GM, whoever, if they tried to tell the great Martin Brodeur with the schedule, the way it went out in Western Canada and the way that Markstrom played in games 1 and 2, if that was Marty in net and they were like, oh, we're going to play Allen or whoever the backup was, a different, whatever, whoever it was, you're not going to play the third game of the Western Canada road trip in Edmonton. Marty would have looked at them and been like, you could go yourself. I'm playing, and that's it. And that would have been it. I hope Marty goes to bat for Markey in spots like that. We know Marty was a big part of getting Markstrom here. He was a big fan. He told Fitz that's a guy he should look at. But I do think Marty has to fight some of these math nerds and the stat team because, I do believe Markstrom should have started that game. And again, not playing five full days in between starts, that matters for some of these guys. I have to believe that they maybe threw him off a little bit. The second one went through his arm. You can't let those pucks go through you. I think Markstrom was pissed at that one. Yeah, Markstrom's got to tighten it up, but they got to let him play more. Devils deliver a smackdown on the Islanders tonight. Ryan, I hope you are correct. I do believe the Devils will. They need to revenge after losing that last time. They do. Anyone know the record now with Big Mac in the lineup? I believe it's 4 or 5-0-1. Let me see. So we go back to the Islander game. So it's 0-0-1, 1-0-1. I forget. Did he play in this one? No, so he didn't play in that one. I'm just trying to figure out the official. And did he not play in this one either? He did. So that's 2-0-1. So maybe it's 3-0-1. I think it's 3-0-1. If I'm not mistaken. There it is. Yeah, 3-0-1. He should have played some of those earlier games on the West Coast trip. Mac is great. I completely agree. Jersey Roots, how you doing? Paisan and all the other Devils, Barbarians. Let's go Devils. What's up, Jersey Roots? Collect records. Party people in the place. Hoping to see McDermott change someone's face tonight if there's any nonsense. It was a long week and I'm in the mood to see some beatings. Let's go Devils. What's up, Collect Records? I'm not I don't need to wait to see any nonsense, quite frankly, to see McDermott change someone's face. As a result of last game, I am hoping to see that right away. 6:02. I'm hoping to see that right away. So hopefully we do. Oh, my man, Traveling Devil. Thank you, sir, with the super chat. It's nice to see everyone in a positive attitude. Congrats on the merch sell. Let's go Devils. So it's just a hoodie. It's just a hoodie sellout, Traveling Devils, by the way. There's still t-shirts. So don't be discouraged. If you would like a t-shirt, they're still there. The hoodies are sold out. There's way less hoodies than t-shirts on that front. But thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it, Traveling Devil. It is nice to see everyone in a positive attitude. It seems like the Doomsdayers are in hiding for now. For now, the Doomsdayers are in hiding. As the Devils win, they go back into their closets. And it is what it is. Hopefully we're back here, or some of you at least will be back here for a positive a positive post game live, you know? So we will see how that goes. But winning cures all, guys. You've seen it in locker rooms. You've seen it in fan bases. Winning is the medicine for everything. And, it is what it is. But hopefully some of you join me back here for a positive, victorious 3-game winning streak post-game live. But thanks again, Traveling Devil. Appreciate you. Let's see here. Nemec is also already alternate captain, according to the jersey I saw at the Rock. Very impressive, given his age and experience. Oh man, yeah. Amagi told me a story about how he saw a Nemec jersey with an A on it at the Rock, which I do. Again, listen, guys. No offense to the people that do these sorts of things. I am a jersey snob and a purist, and so stuff like that really makes my skin itch. And when I see jersey fouls, I think someone was it Puck Daddy or somebody used to have an article, or like I don't know if it was call it article, but some sort of feature about these like jersey fouls, and it was kind of funny. It was kind of funny to see some of the stuff, but definitely having an A on a Nemec jersey is an egregious situation that I think is nuts. Dirk's Files, isn't it a bit early to be talking trades? I don't think so. I mean, listen, no, I'm going to say no. Maybe it's early to be talking about to make trades right now, but we're just kind of, just spitballing about the deadline maybe. And I do think that no matter what happens the rest of the season, there's no way that most people would not say that a top 6 winger would be a beautiful piece that this team could use, at the deadline or sooner, depending, right? But I don't see how anyone wouldn't be on board with bringing in a top 6 winger that could just finish for our boy Jack when he's just sizzling around that ice, setting people up. A lot of people have pointed out that Toffoli was that guy for bits of last year, despite some of the other kind of knocks on Toffoli. You couldn't argue against the fact that he had a snipe of a shot and could bury goals. And I think another guy like that, Stamkos, could be an amazing addition for Jack. Nemec only goes if it's a huge deal. I don't see Dougie or Siegs leaving NJ till it's time for Anton, referring to Salayev, the number 10 pick, to come over, especially Siegs since he turned his game around. Dougie may not heal 100% ever. And I do think because of that and the money that he makes, Dougie would be the most logical to move on from. But because of that money, that contract, it might not be the easiest one to trade. And I do like Dougie a lot. I really do. But in terms of just with the other pieces waiting in the wings and how much he makes, he seems like the most logical one to try to move on from at some point, but who knows when that's going to be. And so again, beautiful problem to have. We are absolutely just blessed on the blue line, guys. Blessed on the blue line that we can make 6 legitimate NHL pairings right now. Six pairings. Richard, heavier, edgier, more violent, rocking the hoodie in Colorado. Let's go Devils. Appreciate you, sir. Let's go Devils. Kovacevic will be gone next year. He'll get paid somewhere. I wouldn't be so sure about that. I mean, it is possible. I do believe Kovacevic now will want to be here. It seems like and if you guys haven't seen any of my kind of behind-the-scenes videos, check that out on the channel. He's one of those guys that looks like a super pump-up kind of locker room dude. He's out there doing handshakes and special blow-it-ups and all the things with the guys. And I think he now, as an everyday player, that happened as a New Jersey Devil. He was a depth guy in Montreal as well. Wasn't an every game player. And I think there's something to be said for a coaching staff that gives you that first full-time gig and shows that confidence and faith in you. And I think with winning, especially, I could see him wanting to stay here and signing a deal that's not crazy. Why do you think that, Jay Snow? I'm hoping that won't be the case. Is it any surprise the Preds are struggling? Their star system without Chem never works. I mean, I'm not surprised they're struggling. I'm surprised that the extent of which they're struggling. I mean, they were a good team last year. I mean, what was their record last year? Let's see. Dude, they went to the playoffs, and I'm not mistaken, they gave the Canucks a fight. Oh, this site sucks. Pulling up stats and shit on NHL.com is awful. I'm a hockey reference guy. All right, here we go. Yeah, they were 47, 30, and 5 last year, 99 points, and then they lost in the first round to the Canucks 4-2. I mean, respectable season. Respectable season by all accounts, in my opinion. Obviously, they would have liked to win a round, but the Canucks are very dangerous club. And for them to go from that level to signing 2 monster players in free agency and then becoming the worst team in the league, I mean, my God, I'm shocked the Preds are off right now in the Wild. They're shockingly good with John Hines. Wild are going to be a wagon once all that dead cap comes off. Get ready for them to be a top team in the West. Billy Guerin had to eat those bullets of buying out both Zach Parise and his buddy Ryan Suter. But yeah, when all those penalties do fall off, Billy G is looking to build a team out there, and I think he's on his way to doing it. He's making league minimum this year. I don't think the Devils are going to pay him. He'll probably get a better offer somewhere else. I think he might get a better offer somewhere else, but like I just said about a couple minutes ago there, I do think that, there is something to be said for playing on a team where you now are kind of boys. You're in this group. You did get your first full-time gig here under Keefe and Fitzy, and assuming the team continues to play good and has a good playoff showing, I am hoping that is enough for Kovacevic to possibly take a little less to stay here. But if he does continue to have the season he's having statistically, with the offensive contributions and the great kind of metrics with him and Siegenthaler being a shutdown pairing, maybe he does chase the money. I hope not, but we're going to find that out at some point as well. What's up, Jared? Tonight we get the game back. We dropped the Islanders before. We're a different team since that game, more consistent. Yeah, it wasn't that long ago, but in terms of gameplay, it seems like a different lifetime. But hopefully they come out and smoke these boys. They pay tax based on where they play. They end up filing for a bunch of states. Yeah, so yeah, they're gonna have to. That's back to the Stamkos situation. That would have been a great loophole if somehow like the other team still paid them and went through their system. But yeah, it's where you live. To get Stammer, we would have to get them to take Palat or Hamilton in the deal or get a third team involved. That would be ideal. I'm trying to think if there's any other way to get to that money. I wouldn't want to trade Mercer, but I if that was the piece that made it happen, I wouldn't want to trade him really. Yeah, it seems like you would have to get one of those, if you're just dealing head to head. And I don't think Hamilton really helps them in the rebuild, and neither does Palat, right? So that's why I think those scenarios are not, Mercer could potentially be a piece they'd be interested in if they're looking at a rebuild, but Palat and Hamilton really, to me, are not. And so I don't think that would be appetizing to the Predators. And then you start to look and say, okay, well then what might? And it's going to be young prospects. That's really all you're going to have to offer, because I just, why would the Predators want Palat or Hamilton going into a rebuild? It wouldn't make sense, in my opinion. Salayev was a steal, though. Future Char. I mean, listen, gem card. I hope, he did slip down the draft board. Most people had him ranked as a top 5 guy, but to start calling people future Chars, come on, man. That's, these people are putting out high hopes for these kids early, and I feel bad for them because most of the time you can't live up to it. Like Chara, is a legend in his own right. I hope you're right. But when people see this stuff, it's a big expectation to put on a young kid. But I'd love to see it. Mercer in a second for Stamkos and retention. Now I would do that, but the thing is, I do think Mercer is a valuable piece to this club. He plays all scenarios. He brings the energy. I really do like Mercer. If it came down to it, I probably would do a deal somewhere in that world. But then you're looking at, you would, in my opinion, you would need somebody like a Gritsuk or a Haminaho to come in and be able to play in the league at an NHL level somewhere in the lineup, because you're basically just losing an NHL piece to bring in an upgraded NHL piece. So I don't know. I think that would be an interesting one, and I would not be against it, but I would try at all costs to not have to deal Mercer. But, in a trade like this, I think you're going to have to give up something that stings, unfortunately. Holtz is heating up in Vegas. Looks like it was a win-win trade. Oh, enlighten me. What has Holtz been doing? I mean, heating up. So let's see. The last 5 games. In the last 5 games, he has 3 assists. He has 6 points in 14 games played. I mean, who knows, right? I wish the kid best of luck. I don't think he's ever going to remotely live up to his draft status, but we'll see. Stamkos coming to NJ would be a reunion for him and Palat. I would love to see it. I would love to see Stammer, guys. And I believe there'd be a lot of teams looking for him. I really do. If Barry Trotz ever puts out the bat signal where he's like, I'm open for business, I think I think it would be interesting. But $8 million is a tough pill to swallow, and I don't know, how many other teams would be capable and willing to take that on with no retention, because there is 2 more years, right? It's a 3-year deal. Yeah, I don't want to get my hopes up, but I think that would just be such a beautiful piece to add. Jack, please, baby girl, keep firing. Hopefully he could start finishing, man. Once Jack starts finishing, and we saw that beautiful goal in tight from Brad the other night, once he can start finishing with regularity, and I believe that's going to happen, the sky's the limit. I think I don't know if I wrote it in a comment. Again, all these communications, texting and comments and speaking. I forget what gets said where, but I did say somewhere that I expect Jack to have 4 or more points over these next 2 games, being tonight against the Islanders and tomorrow at home against the Sharks. We will see how that all plays out, but I think he's going to have a big couple games here. And once he gets hot, he gets hot. Gem card, I think Luke will sign 8x8. Oh, my God. It's crazy that that's like the world we live in. Like, do I think Luke is worth $8 million right now? Absolutely not. If I'm being honest, that's fucking crazy. Jack is making $8 million. We're going to pay him $8 million. And everyone's like, oh, but with the cap going up and blah, blah, blah. And there's always a justification. Guys are getting paid off of nonsense now. It is wild to think that 8 times 8 is a somewhat realistic deal. And I don't know if Luke Hughes tries to do that now, or if he signs some sort of bridge deal like Mercer signed. I'm so curious to see. One of the most interesting subplots of the summer this offseason to me is going to be, what exactly is Luke Hughes looking to do? Now, I don't know that he'll sign long-term right away. I could see him maybe, let me see something. What year does Jack's thing end? I could see him possibly trying to, okay, so Jack's expires at the end of the 29-30 season. So next season is what? 25, 26, 25, 26, 26, 27, 27, 28, 28, 29. So 5 years. Yeah, I'm curious if he tries to make the timing so that him and Jack contracts end up at the same time, but maybe not. I don't want to look too much into it, but I do think, again, if there's any hope of Quinn being here long term, I think that starts with him not trying to get fits for every single cent he could get out of him. 7.5 for Luke is my bet. I mean, I do think it'll be somewhere between 7 and 8 million. I would love to see less. I just don't see how it happens. Pesci's making 5.5, and I think he's a way better defender. You are absolutely correct. He is a way better defender, but he is not a Hughes brother, and Pesci's not bringing those points, although, we're not seeing it from Luke either. He's being called upon to be more defensively responsible, and I don't think he's going to be having some of those point totals that a lot of people thought, at least under the Keefe system. Now, in 7 games, he has 1 point. I mean, that's not, I don't look for my defensemen necessarily to start running up the point totals. But in terms of this kid getting paid, I think a lot of that has to do that. has to do with him being one of these offensive defensemen that put up points. And now let's just say he obviously was hurt for the beginning of the year, but if he doesn't put up a ton of points this season, does that hurt his value or perceived value in this negotiation? Jace, no, I want to see more scoring for Luke. I would love to see more scoring from Luke, but more importantly, I don't want to see him on the highlight reel for the other team, either pinching or making a terrible pass and a goal against. Like, defenseman's number one job should be preventing goals against, period. So I do think, how his season plays out, at least in terms of points, is going to be very interesting, and we're going to see. But hopefully he signs here long term. But I don't see him signing for anything under $7 million. Unfortunately, I think Jack, the big deal Hughes will show up tonight against the Islanders. I hope you are right. The three Hughes brothers together would be like when the Stastny brothers all played together with the Nordiques. I think it'd be a bigger deal. I mean, obviously that was probably a bigger deal at the time before my fandom. But I think the Hughes brothers would be. Yeah, that's a mega hockey story. Obviously, with the hype, we just saw. The NHL 25 cover with all three of the Hughes boys on it. And I can't imagine with all of them on the Devils. I mean, the Devils marketing team would be elated. The possibilities are just endless. Ryan the man. Nico's on fire right now. Yes, he is leading the league in goals. He still is? I didn't realize that he still was. Let me just double check that. Let me just dude, the NHL was so big. What a garbage. Total garbage. The way they have this thing set up. It used to be better. I feel like they changed it. Nope. Nico's back in fifth. Although the guy's ahead of the guy's 3, 4, and 5. So Kucherov has 11 goals now, and Reinhart has 11 goals. And then Nylander, Tage Thompson, Nico, Cole Caulfield all have 10, but Nico's played more games than these other guys. So, technically tied for second. I don't think anyone expected that goal scoring from Nico to continue, but I'd like to see him start heating up again. I really would love to see a 40-goal season out of him. It'd be amazing. I think Keefe is stressing defensive play for Luke right now rather than his offensive skills. Yeah, and I thought that was going to be a theme coming into the season. Like, are people going to get away with murder, which I was saying. Lindy Ruff let guys get away with murder. Although if your name was Alex Holtz, you couldn't. If you made a mistake as Alex Holtz, you were publicly tarred and feathered by everybody. But if you were a Hughes brother, it was allowed. Either way, I did think Keefe was going to bring more, structure, defensive responsibility, and maybe ultimately punishment or corrective action via benching. I don't know. We haven't really seen any of that yet. But either way, I did not think Sheldon Keefe would want to see some of the gambling that we saw Luke Hughes do last year. And it seems like, under Sheldon Keefe paired with Pesce, he's trying to work on that defensive part of his game. Now, I do think that may hurt him in his negotiations when he's a restricted free agent this summer. Something to keep an eye on. Rick Star, you're going to love the hoodie there. Great quality. Thank you, Michael. Trade Jack and use trade Drac, as that's supposed to say, in Luke to Vancouver for Miller and Pedersen. I mean, now people are getting crazy. 1, 2. Luke has been playing great D as a third pair, less pressure, and a great partner are working for him. I agree there. Chris Root, I think we're heating up. I do as well. Dougie's a -1 and Dylan's a +7. That's insane. That really is insane. Anyone know who's in net tonight? Ryan, yes, it's Markstrom. Backhanded Devil, my man Frank. What's going on? Marky is in the net, and hopefully we see more Marky going forward. I don't like. I keep beating on a dead horse here. I don't like the 5 days between starts for Markstrom. Obviously, I don't like it at all. But it is what it is. That's above my pay grade. I'm just a fan. But I know Marty would not be a fan of that either. So we'll see how that all goes. What's going on, Maria? Revenge game tonight. Let's make it good. Let's make it great. I want to see my man McDermott bash somebody up real nice. And Romanov's not playing, so unfortunately someone else is going to have to catch that beating. The Islanders should pay for Romanov's big mouth. I hope so. Devils are winning big tonight, yo, Holmes. I really hope so. Ryan, we need to get the third win in a row. The elusive, it has eluded us for too long. The third win in a row, we need to get it. We need to get it tonight and bring that streak. Now, once you hit 3, I'm calling it a streak. Bring that back to the Rock tomorrow night and beat up on the Sharks. Marcel, my man Mace, how you doing, bruv? That's what they say here in England. What's going on, bruv? I'm just getting ready for the puck drop. Ooh, I'm going to have to get off here soon. Tonight's a 7:30 game, so the pregame won't be starting for a little bit, but I got to soak in the pregame, and so I'm going to get off here in maybe 10 or so minutes. But looking forward to this one, and it's a big opportunity for this Devils to finally get that third win in a row. I saw a girl with a Mercer jersey, and the number was 18. What was his number before Palat, or is she just bugging? He did have a different number. Was it 18? I think it was. He had a different number. My mind actually, as in my old age, my mind is getting a little slippery. I used to remember all this shit when I was a kid like it was like nothing. But what was his old number? And I remember a lot of people speculating. Yeah, he originally was 18. His rookie year, he was 18. And then switched over. Yeah, so whoever got an 18 Mercer jersey, that's a really early jump. But I guess that happens with a lot of these young guys now. People want to be the first or one of the first to get a jersey, and so, not for me. You guys know how my viewpoints on jerseys, especially ones that I'm wearing. Your name does not go on my back until you lift the cup. My man Marty, it's on this shoulder. My man Marty lifting the cup, and then over the other shoulder. Look, it's reversed. I messed up. Scotty Stevens lifting the cup. Like, those are the guys I'm wearing. So yeah, I don't get caught on the hype train of these young kids, but I understand the people that do, and I get it. I'm not mad at it. It's fine. It is what it is, but not for me. So you won't see me wearing any of these early on. 18 was Dawson's original number until Palat came to town. Yup. Kovacevic is a good piece for us. Love Johnny Kovacevic. Kovacevic has also been great during interviews. Dude has a lot of charm. Yeah, he seems very personable, and he seems very likable in the locker room. I think a lot of the teammates like him, and that's why I'm hoping that he is looking to stay here and sign a team friendly. I'm looking for, if you want to be part of New Jersey Devils winning hockey, you leave a little meat on the bone, as Fitzy says. You sign a little bit. You don't need to leave a ton of money, but you leave a little bit. You don't need to squeeze every penny. But a guy like Kovacevic, he might be looking for the big payday. Very different than how I thought Stamkos, a guy that's 100+ millionaire, I thought he would look at free agency differently, but he went for the money as well. NJDevils UK, just had to watch Sheldon's brother Adam's team beat the Belfast Giants. Absolutely blitz my local team. Please, can the Devils get me a positive result tonight? Hopefully they do. The Jets are a force to be reckoned with. They are now 14-1. My God. Backhanded Devil, no doubt. Just had to sit through. I just clicked that. The Central is a weird division this year. What's your final score prediction for tonight? Robert, final prediction for tonight, I'm going to go 4-1 Devils. Ace, I just learned that Lazar's injury is due to getting tied up with Gudas. Do you think Gudas warrants a visit from McDermott during the next tilt between the Ducks? I would say yes. I've been meaning to look back at that, actually. I want to see the clip again. A lot of people are saying it was kind of dirty, but even if it's not, I mean, listen, I'm all for street justice. And by street justice, I mean, on ice fisticuffs. But whenever something ends in an injury like that, I'm always looking for the clap back. Backhanded Devil. Judas came in low on Lazar. I think he does warrant Big Mac treatment. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely would love to see him have to answer the bell. McDermott tried to get to Gudas during that game, and Gudas was a pussy. Yeah, I do remember him kind of ducking away. I was at that game. It was really cool. I was kind of following every shift McDermott was out there, and he played really well in that Ducks game. Chipped pucks in, chipped them out, hit a couple guys, got to the front of the net, tried to distract the goalie, screen, just tried to play a simple game, and he had that fight when it was called up. When he needed that fight, he had it. So, I like McDermott, and I like his game. I think Jack has another 3-point game tonight. I would love to see it. Gem Card, I agree with you, Ace. $8 million is too much for Luke. I just think that's what Fitzy will do. I mean, it's possible. Listen, I'm not going to lie, guys. When we gave Jack that deal, it was before he was the Jack that we all know today. And I was like, holy sh! Like, when it got announced, I was like, Fitzy's gambling on this kid. I was like, I like Jack, and I think he's going to be good. I'm like, but this is a very big gamble by Fitz. And obviously, he knew what he was talking about. Jack is one of the better contracts in the league in terms of value, and I guess he's going to try to do the same with Luke. But $8 million is tough, man. It really is. Alexander, let's go Devils. Robert, I learned that Ace learned that Lazar's injury is due to we already went through this. More violence, absolutely backhanded. There's never enough violence in today's game. Gem card, Jack and Luke sell tickets. They definitely do. This might sound crazy. What if we move Luke to forward? It would fix a lot of our problems and he might excel. Look at what Burns did. I don't I've been thinking about the same option. Gem, I think people get a little, I don't know. I do think that asking a kid like him to do that, is it possible? Yes. Is it ideal? I think absolutely not. I think there's so many intricacies in the NHL game that he's still getting used to on defense, and you're not talking about, he got a little taste at the end of that 22-23 season and a little playoff action, and then he obviously played last year, and now this is technically his third season, but his second real season. He's still learning those little details of playing defense in the league. I can't imagine how much of an adjustment it would be for him to play forward. And so I think that's kind of I don't want to call it like a video game kind of situation, but I think that's very, I don't know. I just don't see it happening at this level. I don't think it happens. I could be wrong. I just don't think it happens personally. Alexander, got my Heritage jersey on, got a big bottle of wine. I'm ready for tonight. Very good. Love the idea of trying Luke at forward. I think it's a better idea than it would be in actuality, but what do I know? Maybe we'll see it, but I just really don't think so. Markstrom's never played a lot of games. If you want him to be fresh for the postseason, Jake is going to have to play 1/3 of the regular season games from Val. Fine, but pick the spots better. And at this juncture, it seems like, well, let me see. How many games does he have? Maybe it is on pace. I don't. A third of the games is what, 27 games? No, that's basically what I predicted. I would have liked to see, Markstrom maybe hit 60, 62, but whatever. I don't like the starter sitting that long in between starts. And I'm sure Markstrom doesn't either. Romanov the round, and now we'll find out. Well, he's not going to find out till next game at least. He's injured, so hopefully someone else takes a beating in his place. 18 was his rookie number. You see them at the Rock plenty. Like and subscribe, you dirty. Thank you, Jersey. I always forget. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, thumbs up. Takes a half a second of your time. Thank you. Thank you as well, John. What's up? Hit the like, you animals. Give my man some love. Appreciate you guys for remembering, because I get all caught up in all this and I don't remember to say that. So hit the thumbs up. Come on, don't be stingy. This is going to be Kovacevic's first time to get the bag, so I wouldn't blame him for taking the most money. And I think that's obviously going to be what his agent is pushing the entire time. Hopefully he could get a number that him and his agent are happy with for him to stay here. But if he does decide to go that way, we have plenty of other guys because of this beautiful defensive depth that we do have. Maybe Fitz makes a small trade for a fourth liner since we're missing 2/3 of the line. I think outside of the top six, third line is definitely a place I would like to see a guy brought in. Now, whether that's a winger or, depending on Lazar's situation, a fourth line center. And God, I hate to keep talking about it, but Mikey McLeod as a depth center on this team would just be so amazing. We just got totally shafted at. I mean, it's just that situation sucks. It's just a player evaporates with no return. It's horrible. Absolutely horrible. I'll take San Jose's fourth line center. He's a big physical guy who's good in the dot. I would love a fourth liner since Bastian is Bastian. Put Lazar and Bastian on IR. Fitzy, get us a decent fourth line center. I'm curious to see how that plays out. I mean, I don't know why. I have my theories. I hate to be negative about stuff, but why wasn't Dougie put on LTIR last year and that freed up money used? I have no answer for it. I'll never understand it. It doesn't make sense. It is what it is. I do believe it has to do with ownership trying to kind of keep the purse strings a little tight, because again, that's not free money. It's just money you're allowed to spend, but that's still money out of the owner's pockets. And so that's kind of one of the things that pissed me off last year, aside with not getting a goalie, was not using that LTIR money to help this club out in any way. And I think we could have clawed into the playoffs. Now, if I'm being honest, I do believe we would have been knocked out of the playoffs pretty early, but I do value that experience for this team more so than getting a high draft pick. A lot of people are all about tanking for the pick. I'm not that person. I always want to see the team make the playoffs, especially with a young group like this. Let them get that experience and kind of learn from it going into battle. But it is what it is. Clicking on like keeps the Doomsdayer under the rocks. The next stretch of games is crucial. Lots of winnable games. We can easily boost our record this month. Yeah, and as with that test in Florida, and then with some other playoff teams like Carolina, Washington coming up after that, it's really a good time for the Devils to bank some points and kind of be feeling good about their game before going into that Florida battle. And a battle it is. That's a big 3-game road trip in the state of Florida. McLeod was a huge loss. Absolutely. Sean Avery talking garbage punk ass. I think I saw a clip of this, and it's Sean Avery being Sean Avery. He was really finding his role. 5-0 over the next week. Laying hits, dropping mitts. I would absolutely love to see that. But all right, guys, I'm gonna go prepare to watch the real pregame. Thank you all for coming out. Hopefully the boys get it done tonight. Let's get ready for war. I want to see the violence off the opening puck drop. Hopefully the first line continues to dominate. Love to see Markstrom get back to his A+ form. And that's it. I'll be back for the post-game live at roughly, 10:45 or so. That link will be going live on the page soon. But that's it. Thank you all. I'll talk to you all later. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Until next time, friends, let's go Devils.